As I'm wrapping up Project 4, and as I'm on its last slide, it's only right that reflection ends it all up. Working throughout these short few weeks, I think has done more for my writing ability and future than ever before. All four projects were unique in their own rights, but also in personal experience as well. It's so strange to think that arguably my best and most complex work in Project 2 could be followed in Project 3 by some of my personal worst, in my opinion. I had so much fun and learned a lot throughout Project 2, which ultimately I feel resulted in a wonderful essay. But just a few days later, I would embark on one of my most miserable and confusing writing journeys in Project 3. Very interesting writing journey. In order to understand it all, I think we should look at what I succeeded in Project 2 to compare it to my troubles in Project 3. Let's try and share right now my screen, hopefully. Here we go. Okay. So, hopefully y'all can see. If we look, this is Project 3. If we look at Project 2, um, I think one of the best parts of this project is how I fluidly supported my ideas and argument with adequate sources. My ability to support my ideas was fundamental in this project and probably the best part of it. Um, if we just scan through the project right now, we can see that I have one, two, three, four visual aids and sources to support each one of my paragraphs. Um, and not only that, I feel like I transitioned into those sources and into each other paragraph well in this project. Let's see, which one should we take? I really liked what I did with this one source right here. Um, because I talked about one source in relation to the I have no enemies trend on TikTok and how that creates a philosophical movement in which inspires positive, optimistic change. Um, so I talk about this TikTok source about a murdered boy's father confronting the accused in a courtroom, comforting him because we as individuals should aspire to be positive and optimistic and remorseful. Um, because that was kind of the main message of this one TikTok trend. And then I related it back to the show that I was talking about in the conclusion essay saying inspires positive change in an individual's life, the same intrinsic change our protagonist reaches in the final moments of the season. I think I compared and transitioned both sources adequately and successfully. Um, that's something that I feel like I missed in Project 3 completely. Project 3 was a mess from the start, to be completely honest. My ideas and thesis and argument constantly changed as I wrote. Um, yeah, I don't have any visual aids in this project because I was analyzing formal philosophical discourse. And even though I feel like I didn't do a great job in Project 2, I still did some things well. Um, I think my analysis of Albert Camus' The Myth of Sisyphus in relation to absurdist philosophy, I think that was done well. Um, Even my transition into it in this sentence, in this paragraph, I'm talking about what makes something formal. Um, and I transition it into Camus's work by saying, even though formal discourse distinguishes itself from informal through a multitude of different characteristics, some forms of formal philosophical discourse are not restricted by such differences, evident through the Myth of Sisyphus. Um, I think transition sentences is something that I always prioritized. I think that it's one of the most important parts of any essay and paper. Um, and I think I do that well. Um, Something I struggled on this project. Mm, I think valid sources. I should have utilized more. I think I only have 3 to 4 sources in project 3. Um, and disregarding the Myth of Sisyphus, the other sources I chose to use felt a little vague, and not as pertinent as I wanted them to be. Um, this source up here, the Northern Illinois University one, is okay because I was simply defining formal discourse and formal sources, so that's okay. I felt like the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy down here in this paragraph talking about the purpose of formal discourse felt a little vague and could have been maybe scrapped entirely. So we read it as the primary purpose of formal discourse on philosophy and existential idea is first and foremost to educate individuals. According to the Stanford Encyclopedia of Philosophy, the intended purpose of formal philosophical and existential discourse is fundamentally rooted in education. I took that directly from the Stanford Encyclopedia About page, and yes, it is relevant and feels I mean, it feels in place. It to me, feels a little vague, and I feel like I didn't support a lot of I could have supported some of my other ideas with better, more credible sources. Yeah, in conclusion, though, really, I feel like with my project and all here, I think I did a good job, throughout this course. I think my work evolved, um, even though I struggled in the last project. I feel like my work evolved, um, to a more sophisticated and more thought out and outlined, planned process. Um, I wanna carry that into the future of my writing, and, I know that this course will has helped me and will help me in the future. Um, so yeah.